comfortable. I don't know if anybody could hear me in there. And, so let me get my tablet started. It says it's waiting. Am I live? Or what?
Old Spice Gentleman Super Hydration Body Wash. Vanilla and shea. 24/7.
Alright, let's see. There we go. Alright. So, man, I don't know if I like that camera angle. Let me see here. I like that one better. Yeah, and it feels better too. Okay. So let me fix this right here. There we go. There we go. So I'm not sure. Oh, let me see. I am not organized, as you can tell. Let me see. Oh, let me go backwards. Yeah, there we go. Woo! It's hot out here. Is it hot out there? Where it's hot where you are? And it's hot where I am. Like blazing hot. Yeah, everything looks good. So I thought I would go live today. I've been thinking about this for actually ever since I went live a few days ago. And you know, I don't really watch the news, but I do kind of keep my eye on what's going on. And it's interesting to see how this Trump and Hunter thing is going on, right? Trump, they're just doing anything, pulling stuff right out of their hat. I want to say something else, but out of their hat to get him, just making stuff up. Then you have one that is like got things on video on his laptop that's atrocious with children and drugs, and you know it's illegal, but then they're playing like, oh, it ain't bad, he ain't nothing but a thing, we need to let him off, whatever, right? Kind of tells you what kind of days we're living in right now. Let me see, we got Cold Warrior. What's up, brother? Hi, Renee, how are you? Good morning. Yeah, man, it's already hot here. It's a little bit humid, and so I was already sweating out here trying to get everything set up. I thought, nope, I'm gonna run in and take a shower before I start. I should have waited, right? I should have waited. I'm already like sweating like crazy, and normally we don't have humidity here like that, but today we've been having it. And I noticed over the Sierras, I could see the Sierras from my house. And yesterday there was just big old huge thunderstorms built up over the mountains, and I was thinking, man, I want to be there. I want to be there. Yeah, so what I want to share something that's on the leather bench. Actually, it just came off the bench. I made a wallet for myself. It was actually a kit wallet. So it was all cut out, and the thread, the holes for sewing was already in it, but I made this wallet, I put it together, I tooled it. It was blank, but I tooled it. And then on the inside, I love flags and pew-pews. So it's got a flag and a pew-pew and, room for everything, little pocket in here, couple of bucks, a couple of bucks, yeah. And I mean literally a couple of bucks. Just a couple bucks. But it came out really nice. It's kind of fat, but if anybody, men know, we'll take the thinnest wallet and we'll cram shit in there until it's hurting your back forever, right? So there we go. That's something that came off my bench just a couple days ago. Finished it up, and I bought another side of leather. So Chuck, I'll be cutting out another Santa belt after ruining the other Santa belt. I'll be cutting out that Santa belt with another piece of leather, and then I don't know if I shared with you. I think I did. I'm not sure, but BZ sent me a really nice swivel knife. This new kind that I had been hoping for and wanting and never could save up for. So I've been practicing, and I carved up a rabbit, a bear, a deer, and a cougar. I didn't tool it though. I just traced them on there and then carved them up. And it is so sweet. I mean, this swivel knife it rocks. And then I have this old piece of leather. I mean, it's all pitted and terrible looking, but I wanted to do something really intricate with it and tool it. So I tooled up an eagle. And I mean, I traced it on there and then carved it in and then tooled it. And that swivel knife is excellent. I had so much fun doing this, and you could tell, I don't know if you can tell, but the leather, see all those pits in it? It makes it really hard to carve and tool. The leather is actually harder than normal. So it didn't tool well, it was hard to carve. But if you can carve and tool on the worst piece of leather, just imagine what you could do on a really nice piece of leather. So I'm encouraged by that, and I think it turned out okay for the leather that I was putting it on. But that came off the bench a couple days ago, and I actually uploaded a video on my YouTube that showed. It's kind of long because I was zoning out, and I didn't realize how long that it was taking. I was just zoned into what I was doing, and so it was like a couple of hours, but I broke it up in like 40-minute sections. And then part of it I didn't even show because I had the wrong camera angle and I was showing this. You couldn't see what I was doing because my hand was in the way, so I didn't even show that part. But I figured it out, and I changed the angle, and now the video is good, and you could actually see how I tool the leather. So how's everybody? How's everybody hanging? It's so expensive right now and so hard in the world, and that's been on my mind a lot. That, and tomorrow, for anybody in the Central Valley, tomorrow they're having a Bigfoot, I don't know, event, I guess. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a Bigfoot event in Pine Flat, California. Not Pine Flat Lake, in Pine Flat. I think it's east of the Thule Reservation, somewhere over there by the Thule Reservation in Porterville or Springville, somewhere over there. And I never been there before, but we're gonna go tomorrow morning. We're gonna leave really early, and we'll be at that Bigfoot event in Pine Flat, California tomorrow. So if you guys want to hang out for a little while, we're gonna be there at that event in Pine Flat, California. I think you can Google it. That's what I did. And I was thinking Pine Flat Lake, which is like 20 minutes from me. I was thinking, wow, I never heard of this. And it says second annual event. I never heard of it, and now I know why, because it's way down there by Porterville, probably almost 2 hours from where I live at. But only Adolph and I, we're gonna head on out, and we'll see everybody over there. Should be a great time. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do. Hi, Hummingbird. How are ya? Yeah. So this world that we're living in. I've been praying for my family and you guys, because we think it's bad right now. It's not bad. We're actually on the precipice of bad. A lot of people don't realize what's about to happen. And if anybody follows Q, they tell you what's going to happen. They've been telling us what's going to happen. First there's really good things like the truth is coming. The truth. Then there's going to be arrests. Arrests are coming. But the people they're going to arrest and the truth about certain people coming out is going to have an effect on the world that nobody's talking about really. I mean, everybody's telling, go buy gold, better buy some food. I agree. Get some food and water, stash some stuff away because it's going to get pretty bad. But there's one other thing that we have that it'll make all the difference in the world compared to just being prepared and then trying to deal with it all by ourselves. And that's God. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying that if you want to come through without a worry, without any problems, and actually control some of what's going on in your little world, we need to learn the authority that we have, that He gave us a long time ago. And you don't hear people talking about it. It's almost like it's a reserved thing just for the preachers, right? You see the preachers attempting to use it, but a lot of times they are not effective with it because they're not really with God. You know what I mean? They're for them. They're not for Him. They're for them. So you don't see them. You don't see people getting out of wheelchairs. Not very much. Not like we're going to see. We're going to see this, along with all the stuff that's going on in the world that's bad and good. We're going to see a move in the spirit realm bigger than anything you ever could imagine. So, in 1987, March of 1987, all of March and into April, back then I had my own video production business. I had a complete studio, TV studio, master control room, editing bays for editing. I had about $500,000 of video equipment, studio equipment, lighting, microphones, everything, right? A complete TV studio, like what you see when you turn on the news and they got the cameras rolling around in there and all that, or a variety show or things like that. I had that. And for a few years. So while I was doing video production, I also had what they call ENG camera setups, electronic news gathering equipment. That's actually why I'm doing YouTube today and with Jeff, and that's how I got hooked up with Jeff, because I like video production and traveling, you know. So I signed a contract probably a year or so in advance, like in 1986, early 1986, maybe even late 1985. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. To go to Africa. And at that time, in 1986, is when I found God. Before that, I wasn't raised in church. I didn't believe in God. I believed there was a God, but I didn't know what I believed really. You know what I mean? I was just going through life, and I self-reliant like everyone else, and I was doing well. Don't get me wrong. I was doing well, but only that there was something missing in my life, and that something was having a strong call on my life, and I was fighting it. I didn't want to relinquish what I thought was my control. I wanted to have control over my life. And from not being raised in church or anything, I believed that if I was following God, then I gave up a whole bunch of stuff, and there was no way I was going to give an inch in control to something I didn't even know if it really existed, and I can't see, touch, feel, taste, right? I'm not gonna do that. I wasn't. But this God that created everything in the universe, it gives us life, breath, everything. And I didn't know that. But it's a powerful force. It is more powerful than evil. And Jesus did something, and everybody knows what that is. I don't have to go through all that, to defeat this. And from that point on, he gave us authority. And I had no idea what that was, but God put me in boot camp right as a baby Christian. I wasn't even attending church. I mean, I found him. I asked him to be the Lord of my life and to guide me and direct me and save me from myself, because that's really what I needed, was to be saved from myself. I was terrible to myself, thinking I was all that in a bag of chips, but really I was on a bad path, and he put me on the right path. But he also put me in boot camp. And I had no idea what was about to happen. I was looking forward to going to Africa, and this church, I'm not going to say the denomination, but it's an international church, huge. I signed a contract to go to Africa, and what we were going to do is they wanted to document, where does the money go? Where does the money go? So all these beautiful church people, and I still don't go to church, okay? I'm not affiliated with the church. I don't go to church. God says in his word, we are the church. We are the church. That's how much authority and power we have, and we don't even realize it. And the world has not wanted us to know that. Not even the churches want you to know that. They'll call you the church, but they don't tell you what you get with that, right? Well, I'm about to tell you what we get with that. So we get in Africa, and everything's going along, and I'm with the top guy that runs the whole organization, his son, and 6 other prominent preacher pastors, okay? And we're traveling into the deepest, darkest, evilest places in Africa, to where they send money. And it was kind of sad, because they were sending hundreds of thousands of dollars into these areas, and only about 15% was actually making it to the goal of the intended purpose of what that was for. And most of it went to the governments and opulent living for the government people, the military, top brass, all that, it went to those guys. It wasn't going to what it was intended for. Some of it made it, but it wasn't. If it would have made it, they would have had running water and electricity and all that kind of stuff. For the kind of money that these people were sending, man, they would have had something. So, but what I didn't know, and I kind of talked about it here a little bit, about the preachers, about they're not effective. God can't use them. They think they're being used. They think they have a call on their life. They actually believe they're serving God, and I wouldn't want to be in their shoes the day they have to step in front of Him, because they're not. They're self-serving. Everything they do is for them, not really for God. But they say it's for God, but it's not for God. And I was about to learn this hugely. I mean, hugely. So, and I'll try not to make this really long, but I want everybody to understand, we are actually, if you believe in Jesus and you give your life to Him and you let Him really control the things that are out of your control, and even some of the things that you control, there is much power that you have, and we don't even know it because we're not taught that. So to give an example, I was the cameraman, okay? And the top dog, the guy that runs the whole organization, his son, he wanted to bring his son, but he couldn't justify his son coming along unless his son had a job to do. So his son was in charge of audio. And I was told by them, he knows what he's doing. And every time I tried to check on his work, I was told he knows what he's doing. Leave him alone. It's his job. You're the video guy. You do the video. All told, the video came out beautiful, but there was no audio on anything. And I got in. They said it was my fault. Whatever, whatever. So we're going into these really far villages where people can't even afford clothes, and even if they did, I don't think they would wear them. They were cannibals. They said they weren't, but they said that they don't eat people anymore, but I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah, it is typical rando. It is. So we go into this one village. Now, I got to start off in the morning. Okay, so I get up in the morning, and hey, Frankie, what's up? And I hope I'm not trying to drive people away from God. I'm not trying to drive people away from me. I'm trying to share something that, if we knew that we had this, I think everyone would be willing to give it a shot. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you what happened. This is my boot camp. First of all, I learned the preachers, they're not all that. They're absolutely not. And I was learning that because every day I was with these top guys that most everyone looks up to in the world, right? They're international. So, but I'm learning they're just like me and you. We put our pants on the same way. We have flaws, and I'm not saying that they're evil, bad people. I'm saying they're just like us. We're self-centered, and that's how they are. They're just like us. Okay, they're no different. Just because they have a big title and a big following, it doesn't mean they're special to God. Okay, everyone is special to God, especially those that actually have a relationship with Him, not one that just is a mouthpiece, So I get up in the morning and I'm getting ready, checking my batteries. I charge all my batteries at night, and I'm getting everything stowed away for the day of what I'm gonna need. And I feel my body kind of go, vroom. It was like, whoa, what was that? I mean, like a vibration, electric vibration and sound of a hum went through my whole body. It was like, I mean, it got my attention. It stopped me. That's the first time I ever felt that in my life. And it was like, whoa, what was that? And about 20 minutes or 30 minutes later, it did it again. I was like, I mean, it stopped me like, whoa, something's up, And it continued all day. As the day progressed, this started happening like birth pangs, kind of like, it started being in between the times it would do it was starting to get less. Like instead of 30 minutes, now towards as we got closer to that village, it started happening like every 5 minutes. And then right before the incident, what I call the incident, or what happened, it was almost every 30 seconds. I had no idea what was going on. At one point during the day, I started thinking there was something really wrong with me, and I'm a new baby Christian. Okay, I don't know God hardly at all, but I do know that He set up this whole event that I'm on, this trip to Africa. He's actually the one that gave me all my equipment. Everything I had to that point, I had realized I wouldn't have had it if it wasn't for Him. So I'm talking to Him, and I'm scared because this is going on, and it's getting more intense and really quicker than it started like. And I was telling Him, I don't want to die here. I don't want to die in Africa. Whatever it is, hold off. Can you make this hold off until I could get home? And I mean, it was worrying me. And I tried to talk to the preacher guys, and they didn't care, right? They didn't stop and ask me what's going on. They really didn't care. Like, I better get good video, right? That's all that mattered. And I got great video. So, and when we're in the village now, I'm set up that we're going to take video of it was a farm way in the middle of nowhere, and they had these tools. The handle of the hose was this long, and it had a big hoe on it, and they had about 20 people, and they were digging furrows to plant yams, and they were all bent over, and they were making furrows with these hoes in 125 degrees, 89% humidity, and they're all bent over making these big, long, I mean, it was a big farm. It was huge. And, just got a message. And so that was amazing me, but still, I'm freaking out because I have this thing going, vroom, vroom. It was like a power was flowing through me, but I didn't recognize it as that. So we get all done. They tell me to pack up my stuff. They're gonna set up something to eat and do whatever they're going to do, but I can go put my stuff away and stow it back in the van and then wait for them. And I had some water and some Reese's peanut butter cups and some beef jerky and stuff like that, and I went back and I stowed everything in the van, and I broke out a water and was drinking it, and some Reese's peanut butter cups, little ones, minis. And I'm standing there, and I popped a couple of those, and I'm holding the bag, and I see these kids playing off over about, 50 feet or 60 feet. There's probably a dozen kids, and they're all playing, and I don't speak their language. So I can't communicate with them. I'll be letting you know about the squashing here pretty soon. But let me finish this thought, because this is really important that I finish this part of it, because this is what we're coming to for us. I was let known that we're coming and we can start using this. Only I had to learn how to use it so I could teach. And this is how I learned in Africa, thinking I'm dying. So I see these kids, I think, man, I'm going to share some Reese's cups, right? With these kids. They probably never had one in their life. They didn't. They never even had chocolate in their life. Sugar. They never had anything like what I'm about to introduce to them. And I get over there and I give one to one kid, and he doesn't know what it is. He's looking at it, and I'm showing him how to open it. I didn't give everybody one yet. Okay? And we get it open, and then they take little teeny piece, put it in their mouth, and his whole face was like... Then he breaks that one up, and each little kid gets a little piece, and they're happy. That's all they care. They see the whole bag, but they're not standing there, more, I want one. So I give one to each kid, and as I do that, they run off. They got their Reese's cup, and they run off. And it was like, whoa, Now, I go back to the van, and I'm waiting for the kids to come back for more. Because, you know how kids are. They're going to come back. I mean, I have 6 kids. I know how kids work. They're going to come back. Nobody came back. So I put them away. And I'm standing there, and I felt really curious about where did they go with their peanut butter cup? What are they going to do with it? Thinking thoughts like that. And worrying about this. And it was going off the hook now, like every 15 seconds. Like, it was crazy. I thought I was going to die. I really did. And about that time, these 3 kids come around the corner of this little mud hut with thatch grass roof. They're not wearing any clothes, nobody was except us. And they walked by, and I could tell they knew about the Reese's cups. And they were looking at me, and one of them had little wooden crutches that were handmade, very crude crutches, and his legs were dangling, and he would balance on one toe. Both of his legs looked like he was paralyzed from the waist down. And it looked like he had never used his legs. They were just hanging, no muscle, just bones and skin and bones, just hanging there. And my heart totally went out for this little boy. And this energy was going, vroom, vroom, vroom. I mean, it was going off the hook. And I thought, I'm going to die, but before I die, I seen the preachers. I didn't know how to pray for people. I absolutely didn't even know how to do that. But I had seen these preachers pray for people, and they would put their hand on their head and say, in the name of Jesus, be healed, or whatever, So I was going to do that to this little boy. I was going to pray for him. The only thing I knew to do, and so I'm going to do that. And then I was going to give him some Reese's cups, okay? So I'm walking up to the little boy, and I raise my hand up like that, and I go to touch him, and about this far from him, as I'm coming to his head, that thing went poof, and it shot out of my hand and hit that little boy in the forehead, and he flew back 6 feet, landed on his back, crutches went that way, dust is coming up. The 2 little boys are standing there like, looking at me like I killed him. I thought I killed him. I had no idea what happened. I'm standing there like, whoa, and the energy slowed down, but this big energy burst came out and hit that little boy and knocked him right on his back. And I mean, he flew like, it seemed like slow motion to me, like boom, bouncing and the dust coming up. I'm like, oh man, I killed him. I'm looking at the little boys. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. What's going on, God? You know, what was that? Before I even could figure out what's going on, all these men are running at me. I'm thinking, oh boy, if I'm not dead from whatever's going on with me, I'm about to die. And I told God, if I die right now, I want to be with you. Don't let me, you know, wherever you go, I don't want to go there. I want to go up there. So if I die. But I didn't die. They surrounded me. All the men were surrounding me. There was probably 80 of them. And they have their teeth filed like shark teeth. And when they smile, they were smiling, right? I'm thinking, oh man, you know, and I'm looking at my tummy. I got a little bit of a tummy, and I'm thinking, man, I'm going to make a great meal, you know, because they file those teeth because it's easier to rip human flesh with, right? They're cannibals. All these things are going through my mind. And I noticed the whole village is coming now, and they're surrounding me. I'm surrounded, like they're right up in my grill. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking I'm toast. Dinner. They're inviting me for dinner, and I'm the main course. That's what I'm thinking. So this guy that I figured was like the chief or the leader of the tribe, he has a little boy, and he puts this little boy in front of me, and he's smiling at me, and he's shaking his head like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. You know, I don't know. And I'm looking out, and I could see the other preachers at the edge of the crowd, and I'm looking at them like, hey, help, you know, please help me. And they're just looking. I don't think they even know what's going on. And then the guy grabs my hand, puts it on the little boy, and he's holding my arm like this. And he puts my hand on the little boy, and I feel power go out. And he felt it. His face was like, yeah, you know. And then they were holding my hand, my arms, and they were bringing little kids forward, and I prayed for all the little kids. I actually didn't even pray. I didn't know what was going on. I was just like watching as I felt this power every time they touched a little boy or a little girl, little kid. Some power would go through me and come out my hand into them every time. And I don't know how many kids. I lost track. And when I got done with the kids, then they started pulling the women to me. Now, when it started getting into the women, and I started realizing, you know, I started telling God, heal them, whatever, heal them. You know, I started getting into it, kind of. I didn't know what I was doing. I was praying. So I look up at those guys, the preachers, and they got their clipboard, you know, and they're like waving at me. They're like, come on, you know, like, let's go. And I knew I was already there for a little while, longer than what we were planning. And I tried to tell them, you know, I gotta go, you know, and that's when they got rough with me. They're like, what? No, you know, like, you're staying right here. He grabbed my hand, put it on a lady. It was like, this is what's going on, right? I'm like, I look at my guys, I'm like, you know, and every single one had energy come out. Every time. When we got done, it was almost dark. Now, this started like 4 hours before dark, and we were supposed to be long gone and be back to where we were sleeping, but that didn't happen. It was almost dark. So when it's all over, and I did first the children, then the women, then the men, and then everybody went off. I found out from the interpreter later. I'll go into that in a minute. Okay, so I got in the van. I have no idea what's going on, and the top guy, preacher, is chewing my ass off for making them late, doing all this stuff. Like, what do you think you're doing? You know, like, You're not a preacher. You're not to pray for anybody. You're just a cameraman. That's your job. Blah, diddy, blah, diddy, blah, diddy, blah. You know, I try to defend myself. I was coming at it like, I'm just the cameraman, but something happened. I think God wanted it to happen. I'm trying to tell you what was happening. You're not listening. Why isn't God using you? Like, what just happened? Like, I'm still freaking out, but I'm not going to let him chew my ass, but I don't know how to defend myself. Like, I'm still freaking out on what happened, but I'm wondering why, how come those guys weren't doing that? Like, why did it have to be me? What did God set me up for? You know, like, and I was even like, after we're driving in, you know, riding along back to where we're gonna sleep, and I'm asking God, like, what was that? Like, why don't do that to me? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, no warning. I'm kind of a little bit mad at him, you know, like, don't do, like, use one of them. They know what they're doing. I don't know. I don't have a clue of what I'm doing. Please don't do that to me ever again. Well, and I found out later from the interpreter, I think the next day, I was asking him, you know, he came to me, he's like, hey, those Reese's peanut butter cups, he goes, you're going to spoil them. Don't do that. I'm like, what? Spoil them? He goes, he started telling me they never had that in their life. And then he told me that each little kid took their peanut butter cup, mini peanut butter cup, and went back to their house, and they broke it up evenly to each person in the family. Adults, nobody had chocolate, right? Nobody. That country is the largest maker of cocoa beans in the world, right? They export more cocoa than any other place in the world, and they never had a chocolate. That boggles my mind. They're also the biggest exporter of gold, and they're the poorest people I ever saw, because other countries rip these people off. They pay them nothing. They work them to death. They take all the resources and sell it to us for a lot of money, and they don't put anything back. They should be living at least as good as we do, which ain't great, but they should be. So we're going along. A week goes by. I get up in the morning, and I'm putting everything, packing it up. All of a sudden, I'm like, what? No. Absolutely not. No. Use one of those guys. No. All of a sudden, like, no. God, stop it. Like, I am not going through that again. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I refuse. The day goes. It's the same. The same. It went the same. They started getting, you know, the time between them was getting shorter, and they were getting stronger, and this time I knew I wasn't going to die, and I was refusing. And I even talked to a couple of the preacher guys that I had kind of made friends with and told them, you know, help. I need help. Like, this can't, I'm warning them. This is what's going to happen. Look, this is how it went last time. Help me. Like, I don't know what to do. God, stop it. Give it to that guy. Like, I'm telling them, ask for this, okay? You do it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want nothing to do with it. Like, and if I do, if it winds up me doing it, don't get me in trouble. Because I don't have any control over this. I don't know what's going to happen or how, but whatever happens, don't hold me to it, because don't yell at me and I mean, I don't know what's going on, like, and I'm telling God, no, 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 absolutely not. Don't. Same thing. We're in a little village. It almost is like every other little village, except for this one. I didn't do the Reese's peanut butter cups. I took that guy's advice, and I didn't pass them out because I didn't want to do anything to them, like spoil them. He was saying like it isn't good for them. And I also wasn't allowed to tip. Like I was tipping people 200 of their dollars, thinking, I mean that I would turn in $20 of their cash, and I would get 7,000 of their dollars for $20. So I was tipping like 200, and he was telling me stop that. Like they're gonna kill you. They're gonna be thinking you have American dollars on you. They're gonna kill you. Like the best pay they get is 50 of their dollars a month. You just gave that kid 4 months of his dad's pay. Like, don't do that. Stop it. I was like, what? Like, man, talk about culture shock, right? Culture shock. So, I'm in the little village. Everything is going good. There's a bunch of little kids. And I'm telling God, no. And I see the little kids. None of them look like that I want to pray for them, right? None. And I'm telling God, I don't know what is going to happen, but I am refusing to do it. Absolutely not. I am not doing it. And then, as I'm sitting there and I forget, this little girl comes walking up with about 7 of her friends, and her head had been split. And she had a scar starting right here that went up like that, and it had I could put my whole hand in the scar on the top of her skull. Her eyes are all way out and looking off, I have 6 kids. And I take foster kids in. There is that. I'm going to cry. I can't help it, but I'm going to try to keep my composure. That's my soft spot. And I think God knew that, because he made me. So, here they come. And I see this little girl, and I'm thinking, oh, whoa. I mean, I forgot about everything. And I think, man, if I could just sneak a little prayer in, and I come up with this plan, I'm going to walk up and I'm going to put my hand in the scar on top of her head. I'm going to pray for God to heal her, please heal her, God. I mean, I forget about it, and nothing's going. So, I mean, I'm totally forgot. I don't know why. Amnesia is so bad. Oh, man. So I walk up to her. That's when everything went the same again. I raised my hand up. I was 2 feet away almost. Maybe a little closer. 1.5 feet, but I was starting to bring my hand up. As soon as my hand got up and I was aiming towards her head, boom, bam, that girl went flying back. Everything happened the same after that. She went bouncing on the ground. The dust is flying. I'm thinking, oh my God. I'm looking at these little girls looking at me. Their eyes are that big. They're like, you killed her. Thinking, oh no. I look up. I see all these men running at me. I'm like, oh, gee, God, I said no. No. And I'm thinking to myself, why did I do that? I should have not did that. And it went like that. It went down just like the last one. They grabbed my hand, but only this time I knew what to do. And I started praying for the little kids. And I actually was praying this time. I looked up. Those guys are mad at me I did it again. This time, instead of 200 people, there was more 600. Right? We're talking 3 times more people. The crowd was really big. And, I mean, it was a lot. Think of a small theater with a whole bunch of people in there. It was like that, 600 people. It was ridiculous, amount. And first the kids, then the women, then the men. And then when I got in the van, the dude was livid. I mean, he was absolutely cussing me, right? The preacher is cussing me. I was so mad. I fought back. I cussed back. I was like, dude, something's wrong with you and all your buddies, right? God doesn't even use you. What the hell is wrong with you guys? Aren't you tuned into God? He seems to want to do something. I mean, I was coming right back at him. As hard as he would come at me, I would come back, push him back. So the next morning we get up, and the guy that I had made friends with, the best, out of all of them, he was now my bodyguard. Like, they would not let me out. He had to be with me at all times, because if anything happened, then it would be on him because he didn't stop me. Never happened again. There was one more incident where I wrestled with a demon in a little kid, and only I'm not going to talk about that. That one, it's another long thing, but God put me in boot camp, and it was for today. What I learned there, and I honed my skills over the years, is for today. It's for today. It's for me to share how and why we can do this. And the preachers won't be doing it. They won't be doing it. You hear me? The churches aren't going to be doing this. The preachers aren't going to be doing this. It's going to be just regular people like us that have faith in God. We're going to be doing this. And we're going to need this. God showed me over the years that I have been not as much as I probably should be, but when opportunity comes, like I think of it like God puts the people in front of me, and the opportunities, I don't go looking for it. Just like I wasn't looking for it in Africa, I'm not looking for it still today. When he wants something to happen, it happens if you're open to it. And believe me, it's happened over the years, and I've seen some people healed. I actually was trying to call somebody back from the dead, and I know that person, it was my dad, I know that person would have stood up, but God actually verbally talked to me and told me, look at him, he has a smile. When I came to get him, he's smiling. Look at the scars. They just did a big surgery on him, cut him from his chest to his belly button, and down his leg on one side, down his leg on the other side. It was a quadruple heart surgery, and they took the arteries out of his leg and put him, he was cut all the way up. He told me where he's at right now, he's not in pain. But if you call his life back in his body, I will do it. Because you have that faith. You hear what I said? Faith. You believe that if you pray that prayer, that's what happens. That's what we have to know today. When we pray that prayer, whatever it is, that's what happens. Not maybe, not if it's God's will, not anything like that. When we pray, believing, knowing that that's going to happen, that happens. And that's what we need today. That is absolutely what we need today. And that's what I have to share with you guys, is now it's going to be how. How do you do it? How do we do it, right? There's tons of demons. They are everywhere. And God just gave me a vision, and I talked about it in the last video, that one was coming with a comet. It was called the demon comet. In the vision, or dream vision, it wasn't called the demon comet. He just said, the worst demon is coming with a comet. This one was more evil than anything the earth has ever seen, is coming with this comet. That comet happened several months later, and so here we are, right? Here we are. Now God has started dealing with me. Man, I'm hot. God started dealing with me, telling me I need to share what I know and do. And I don't know how to do that. But I'm telling him I'm on a Bigfoot channel, I don't have, and then I thought I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to create a channel just about God, right? God said, no, he works in strange ways, guys. So I have a channel already. He said, get on there. Don't worry about if it doesn't get views or this or that. Get on there. He makes things happen. We don't make things happen. I have faith he does. So I'm going to be faithful, and I'm going to do what he told me to do. And that's get on here and start sharing what I know. And I mean know. I don't think I know. I don't doubt one iota. I know. Just like I'm right now walking without a cane. 24 years ago, I was told I would never walk again. Ever. They gave me a power chair and a wheelchair. And they told me, you will never walk again. Oh yeah? They don't know my God, right? Our God. They don't know him. They don't know what faith I have. I walk today. And in fact, at the beginning of last year, I threw the cane away even though I still have problems. I'm not going to say I don't have problems, and I still have pain and all that. But I'm walking when I was told I would never walk again, ever. And I can go on and on and on about this stuff. What I'm saying, what I do, you can do. There's nothing to it. Absolutely nothing. You don't have to pray a long prayer. You don't have to say, oh God, if it's your will. Never say that. It's his will. It's his will that we walk. It's his will that we're healed. It's his will that we have resources and our needs are taken care of and met. It's his will that if we pray for something, he does it. He tells us that. No ifs, ands, or buts. We're the ones that add the ifs, ands, or buts because of lack of faith. We're the ones that add that. And I think that's good enough for today so you guys could think about it. Mull over what I'm saying. If you have any questions, really get in the Word of God. Remember, I'll leave you with one more thing. It's an example. And the example is, this is how our authority that he gave us to use, this is how it works. Okay? So, the authority isn't our power. It's our faith. But he lets us use it. Like a policeman. Think of a policeman. He has a badge, a uniform, a gun. Okay, so the policeman jumps out in the road in a really busy freeway and he holds his hand up and says, stop! Okay, does he actually have the power to stop cars, trucks? Or can they just run him over? Of course, they could run him over. But what is it? Why does everyone stop? Why? Because he has authority. He has a badge. He has a badge that says he's a cop. And if you run him over, bad things happen. Okay? That's what we have. Okay, so nobody sees the badge. But I'll tell you, the demons see it. They see you coming. They know you're filled with faith and that God is with you when you walk anywhere near any of them. And people that are possessed by demons or oppressed will get irritated when you're around. They'll absolutely get irritated because they know that you have the authority to send them packing, right? And do things that no other person can do that's around there. And that's how authority works. And I want you guys to think about that. Pray about it. Ask God to open your eyes. Like, let's pray, okay? I feel like we should pray right now. And I'll chat here in a minute and take questions or whatever. But Father in heaven, thank you for leading me in what you're doing here. Thank you for bringing the truth finally. Thank you for revealing the evil. Father, open everyone's eyes and let them find the faith to stand confidently that whatever they ask for in your name, it will be done, as it says in your word. I ask that you bless every single person that hears my voice. Bless them abundantly in every area of their life, financially, resources. Bless them abundantly. If they can hear this and believe for it, they be blessed abundantly. Blessed physically, every healing, everything wrong with their body, heal it. Broken bones, nerves, blood, back, heart. From the top of the head to the bottom of their feet, be healed in Jesus' name. Bless them with confidence to use your name. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. There we go. So, man, I'm sweating. But yeah, I had to talk about this. I couldn't let it go. I tried to, my hair is hot. I tried to not do it. Kind of like how I was doing in Africa, you know, like, no, God, use somebody else. And he's like, there is nobody else. Nobody's going to do it. You got to do it. Because I taught you. So you got to do it. You can't, you're not running away. Just like I wasn't running away there, I'm not running away now. And so here we are. And that's about it right there. If you guys have any questions or anything. And then, let's talk about tomorrow. I'm going to be Bigfooting a lot this year. And not the way a lot of people think either. God showed me what these things are. And so I'm not really hot on it anymore like I used to be. I'm not hot on aliens, any of it. I mean, now I was in the search of where they come from. Now I know, but I still think it's cool. I still get to meet people, and I'm going to go to events and stuff like that. It doesn't change anything like that. But I'm not going to be out trying to figure these things out. I know what they can do. Just like us, we have authority, and we can use that power. They have authority and another power. And they are very confident in it. And so that's where we're at right now. Thank you, Rando. I couldn't avoid it, man. I'm telling you, let me move my tablet so I can look at it better. But yeah, I couldn't avoid it. He was not letting me get away from this. And last night I've been putting it off and finally last night he's like, you're gonna do it in the morning, in the morning. It's like, okay, all right. So I posted up on Facebook and in the community chat thing, like, I'm gonna try to do that. Okay, I'm not the best at a schedule. I like how what I'm saying, God puts things in front of me and I deal with things as they come. I'm retired. I don't really want a schedule. You know what I mean? I'm not in it to do a YouTube channel and do a schedule and have a job. Unless God really makes me do it, I probably am not going to do it. I'm going to come on when I want to come on, and I'll try to give warning, ahead of time, advance notice if I'm going to do that, if it even comes to my mind. But I'm retired. I have a life. I got 26 grandkids, 2 great grandkids. I want to enjoy. I'm walking, right? I'm enjoying my life a lot. And part of it is doing YouTube videos, but I work just like all you guys. I worked my butt off, and I was on a schedule my whole life. And if I can avoid being, for some reason, the schedule thing just is like, no, I don't want one. When something is where you have to, that's whenever I start fighting back. Like, even with God, he's like, you have to do this. Like, no, I don't. No, I don't. Like, I don't want to do it. Find somebody else. I don't want to, But only that's where I'm at with that. And I'll try to be more consistent, okay, on making videos, not consistent on how I do things, but more consistent, like more videos. And I know that that's going to be the case, because what I just talked about today has to be spread worldwide. People have to know this. They're not going to learn it from the preachers. You're not going to get it. Very few people. And it's coming to a time where, in order to even have any kind of life, resources, anything, we're going to have some faith, because we're about to lose everything. And the world is about to lose everything. But those that can call things out of heaven, you'll have things. And everybody's going to want to know how you did it. Then it's your opportunity, just like I'm sharing it with you, God will have you sharing it with them. Like, I'm not special. I'm not above anyone. I'm just like everyone else. I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like everyone else. And as you learn this, God will give you opportunities to share and exercise your authority and faith and watch miracles happening that will strengthen your faith, and you'll be able to do it again and again and again, because God never rests. So don't be afraid. Sometimes it doesn't happen in the way that you think. That's another teaching coming, another video I'm going to do where I'll be teaching that about sometimes it doesn't happen right as you think. God does things in His way, not our way. But that's another video. This fly's been bugging me. Hi, Danera and Frankie and Hummingbird. I said hi to all you guys. I don't know how many. It says there's more in here than that, but where are y'all at? I'd love to see where you guys are. I probably should have put the camera on my tablet and did that like that. Well, anyways, it is getting hotter than blazes out here. Going to be 102. It's probably 38% humidity, which for us is really hot. Usually about 15%. Hey, Night Rider, Fire Dude, what's up? Hi, Amanda. Wow, you guys. I hope I didn't blow you all away and give you too much. I kind of fought with God on that a little bit. Like, are you sure? Like, I don't know. But I believe God can use every single one of you, and I have faith that there's going to be miracles coming. I can't wait to hear about it. God's great, but it's hot. I got to get in and get out of this heat. I'm not going to hang out here. I'm not going to make any leather things. You guys see my wallet I made? Isn't that cool? I designed. I mean, it was already a kit wallet, but I put the design on it. It was just a blank piece of leather, but only I like the guns, pew pews, and the flag. Yeah, it's pretty sweet, huh? I got that new swivel knife. I've been trying it out, and I carved in an eagle, and then I've been playing around with it. I didn't tool these out. I just carved them in. Just a deer, a bear. I'll be practicing tooling these things because I could put these on wallets and different things. Well, you guys, see, I used to send comments under Paul V. Oh, I remember. Yeah, I'm going to do what God tells me to do and not what people tell me to do. So, wow, maybe if I put my hair up, it might be better here. So, you know, nobody take it personal if I don't do what you're suggesting. I only do what God tells me to do, and I don't get in trouble that way. God's really good, and He takes care of me. And He, believe it or not, He's taking care of you guys too, more than you think, you know? More than you think. Wow. But anyways, it is hot. I'm leaking all over the place, man. What a trip. But I'm gonna head in there and got one hair hanging out somewhere. I'm gonna head in there and hang out with my wife. She's doing so much better. She's putting on weight. She's busy, back to her busy self again, you know, telling me what to do and all that. I do what she tells me to do too, you know? And it's a way where you can stay alive a little longer, you know what I mean? But anyways, you guys, I said my prayer for you. Be blessed in Jesus' name. Ask God to show you what I'm talking about. Research this. Use it. Practice. Watch miracles happen in your life where God deals and works with you just like He works with me exactly, and maybe even more than me. You never know. But you guys all have a blessed day, and if you're at the Bigfoot event in Pine Flat, California tomorrow, over by the Thule Res, somewhere over there, Pine Flat, California, 10 a.m. at the Bigfoot event in Pine Flat, California. If you're anywhere near the valley, you could do that. I'll see you there. All right, guys. Later.